All right, so it looks like we had added a couple quizzes as a collection, and in that quizzes we had stored a couple quizzes in there, and we had started exploring how to interact with these quizzes in the server. We had implemented a couple models, right, and DAOs that would allow us to interact with these quizzes. Right, so for instance, we only played around with users, right? We never implemented schemas or models for working with quizzes. So we'll do that today. Oops. Oh. Uh-oh. Right, in that server we had a couple of controllers, right? For quiz controller for being able to retrieve a list of controllers, right? We had questions controllers as well, and they were retrieving data from these services that were hosting this hard-coded data of an array of quizzes, an array of questions, right? And same thing for quizzes here. We had an array of hard-coded quizzes, and we had started playing around with the idea of interacting with the database as opposed to these hard-coded arrays. And notice that we had already, for instance, started to replace this array of quizzes with a quizzes schema, and then a model that would allow us to retrieve the quizzes, right? And notice that we had started, oh yeah, here it is, right? We were playing around with replacing the find all quizzes with a model, quizzes model.find, right? And probably in the controller, in the quiz controller, right, we had played around with the idea of retrieving the list of quizzes using the service, right, as opposed to the hard-coded array. So we'll make the full transition today, so that we're fully using the new database implementation as opposed to the array implementation, right? We'll be replacing that implementation today. On the client side, we had implemented quizzes, right, that displayed a list of quizzes, right, that right now is coming from that hard-coded array, right, so that we would display the title of the quiz. We could delete the quiz, add a new quiz, right, and when you clicked on a particular quiz, right, so quizzes would list all the quizzes, but when you clicked on a quiz, you would navigate to that particular quiz, which was made up of, it would retrieve the questions for a particular quiz, and then it would render them as an array of questions, right? And that array of questions was just a list iterating over all the questions, and then it would pass each one of the questions down to the components, right? The true-false components or the multiple choice component. And once we pass the question, we would bind the question attribute to this local question object, which we could then render it, right, in the HTML as either true, false, checkboxes, right, and then a user clicked on a particular radio button and provided an answer, and then we could grade the answer right here by comparing whether it was correct or not and whatnot, right, and highlight whether it was good or not and whatnot. So that's as far as we got in the front end, right? We could quickly run that. So if we start the server, okay, we got the server up and running. Do we? Let me run it. Let's see. Let's see if we get any errors. Oh yeah, looks like I mistyped there, something in there. There we go. Let's start that again. And then on the client, let's run the client here. ng serve. Okay. And if we navigate, we can go to localhost 4200, right? And where we were playing around with login, we also play around with quizzes. If we go to quizzes, right, these are the quizzes that are coming from the server, right? And if we click on a particular quiz, if they had questions, it would render the questions either multiple choice or true false, right? And we play around with grading and seeing what you could use to highlight or show or style the data based on what you answered. All right, so this is as far as we got. All right, so let's now start working towards the assignment, but using from this starting